Hello, friends, and welcome to the 118th episode of I almost want a bunch of episodes that say all new Snap Judgments, but it is not all new Snap Judgments. It's regular old Snap Judgments. And as sometimes, I'm Roy Rogers, and joining me today is my friend and yours, the one, the only, the Twitch partner of your dreams, the CEO of the Snap Judgments Podcasting Network, and the Sandworm Emperor of my heart, Aaron Pulse Glazer. Hello, Aaron. It is wonderful to be back chatting with you this week.
Thank God you're back. I'm so bad at hosting. I've hosted a few weeks now, and every time I host, I'm like, why doesn't the episode ever end? Everyone just talks like an interminable amount, and I'm just like, oh, it's another 4-hour episode. That's awesome. Friends, episodes should not be 4 hours. I'm sorry. I need to be better.
Well, I edit the ones that are 4 hours, so yes, I agree as well. Well, loyal listeners and loyal viewers, I can promise you that this episode will not be 4 hours. But Aaron, who's our special guest that is joining us for this not 4-hour episode?
Our not 4-hour episode guest is our 5-letter word. I think it's 5. Is it 5? 6. Damn it! It is the Pirate King. It's one of my favorite people in this whole damn community. He's on once a month to do this with us because he's so gracious. It is the Pirate King Tuccrr. How you doing, Tuccrr?
I am doing absolutely fantastic. This is one of my favorite episodes to do every single month. Just to be able to shoot our ideas back and forth off each other and give you guys some just proper ideas, or I would say maybe official/unofficial rankings for some of these cards, because, you know, things are subject to change and some of these cards do perform differently than we do expect.
Cool. Tuck, if anyone is just missing out at this point and is not following you, whether it be in the slinging cards or the pew 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 of your gaming, how can people find you and what will they find?
You can find me on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, pretty much every social under the username Tuccrr, which is TUCCRR, where I stream Marvel Snap on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and then I stream Marvel Rivals on those other days as well. Full-time content creator, so I be streaming a lot of hours, and that's where I do most of my content, is probably going to be on Twitch if you were to go to one platform.
Cool. Please make sure you're following Tuccrr. You will regret not doing so. Roy, take us away.
All right. So, no, Glazer has not at all informed you of how to engage with him on social media. He's also not updated the tag here yet again. I'm just going to go off with this. So, we are on the One app. All right. The website. Twitter, formerly known as X formerly known as Twitter, at SnapJudgeCast. And we are also incredibly proud each and every week to be the official podcasting partner of Marvel Snap Zone. Please go to Marvel Snap Zone, check them out. Glazer, you're writing for them still, right?
I am. Almost every weekday.
Almost every weekday. We also have friends of the show, Den, Lauren, lots of amazing contributors who have been on our show, and we're so grateful to continue to be the official podcasting partner of Marvel Snap Zone. Glazer, we're also on BlueSky. What's BlueSky?
SnapJudgeGlazer.
SnapJudgeGlazer. There we go. Our email is snapjudgmentspodcast@gmail.com. We will definitely get back to you if you email us there, let me tell you. And
wait. The best part is, I was looking through and I was like, oh man, I really need to check and we had like 10 sponsorship offers, and I was like, oh shit.
I mean, you had 10 sponsorship offers. I didn't have 10 sponsorship offers. Like,
Snap Judgments had 10 sponsorship offers. No one actually wants to advertise on Twitch. Then no one's like, hey, let me get in on that Pulse Glazer money. Snap Judgments, though, that's a brand.
What I'm really trying to do here, I'll let you behind the scenes here, is create an intellectual property claim on the Snap Judgments brand, which, again, future lawyers, Glazer just acknowledged that I own some percentage of the Snap Judgments brand. You, my friends, can engage with Glazer each and every day on our YouTube channel.
Ooh, see, our YouTube. I heard it. I heard it.
Yeah. At Snap Judgments Pod over on YouTube, where each and every day Glazer is offering at least one snap take, often more, depending on his mood and whether or not he is manic or not that week. And Glazer, if our loyal listeners were to become our loyal viewers, what would they find on the YouTube right now?
I hit infinite. That's it. The deck for that. We also have the number 1 deck already. I did
All
day
right,
2
there we
infinite.
go.
Tuccrr does day 1 infinite, but like I need sleep and shit. So like I did day 2 infinite.
All right. Last social media, Glazer, I made a joke at the beginning of this, is a Twitch partner. He is streaming at Pulse Glazer, correct?
Mhm.
On Twitch.
You're
There we go.
literally on it right now, Roy.
I don't know anything. Twitch.tv/Pulse Glazer, like it's 2012. And you should check it out. Glazer, what is your stream schedule?
I'm on basically every evening. Wednesdays I stream in the afternoon, something like 3:30. Sometimes Friday at like 3:30, and almost every other night at around 8:30.
Cool. You should check it out. And then the final bit is our Patreon. Patreon.com/SnapJudgments, where you can support the content that Glazer produces. I say this every time, but it is true. Unlike some patrons out there, we are a reverse pyramid scheme because Glazer has a lovely wife and wonderful child, and he has to justify those credit card charges for various expenses that he does for the community. And the way he justifies that is your support on the Patreon. There's lots of other benefits like the Snap Judgments League, the King of the Hill tournaments, and other nonsense that I get notifications on Discord. And you should support us as low as $2. Trumpflation, yep, we're still, Trumpflation hasn't gotten the Snap Judgments cost yet. So for $2, you get access to all of that. Exciting times. You should check it out. Snap Judgments at patreon.com.
No one's gonna get this but Roy. Sorry. So I had a long conversation with John earlier today.
Deep cut.
About the trade war. So
of course.
just so you know,
he's on the
just
front
so
line.
you know,
So.
yeah, I figured you would want to hear about that later. So I'll tell you about that when we're not on the air because no one's gonna know
I'm
what the
really
fuck
glad
we're
to hear
talking
about that. All right. Anyway, let's get on to what we were talking about. Glazer, what are we going to talk about today?
So first, very quickly, I ranked the drops to series 3 and 4. Just from the like most desirable to least desirable, and I figured I would give you two a chance to give a quick take. This is our way of bringing anyone who somehow missed the Twitch drops, anyone who just listens to a podcast and isn't super involved in the community, a way to know what the hell dropped. So dropping from 4 to 3 are, in my opinion, from best to worst or most desirable to least desirable: Zabu, Boda, Mobius, Ghost Spider, Lady Deathstrike, Havoc, Nebula, Null, and Null's low because they just gave him to everyone like a week ago. Nimrod, Spider-Ham, even though they gave Null to everyone a week ago, he's still better than Nimrod and Spider-Ham. Silk, Celine, and Hercules. What do we think of this ranking, Tuck?
I think it's totally valid. I was going to ask about the Null ranking, but since you prefaced it beforehand, I like it.
Nice. Anything to add, Roy?
Hard to disagree with this. I mean, I can't believe it took, 2 years for my boy Zabu to get series dropped all the way into 3. Yeah, one day he'll be joined by all the cards they promised initially would get dropped. But
it was him, Null, and Darkhawk. So like we're 2/3 of the way there.
I know, but Darkhawk's never going to drop.
No, ever. Three times value.
But yeah, and it's cool that like Mobius, I think, is a really wonderful card as well to have in Series 3. So it's really hard to object to these, if I'm like being completely candid. Like there's just a lot of value and interesting cards in here. So
and Hercules.
Yes. Hercules is fine. I spent tokens on him.
Dropping to Series 4 are 11 cards, and ignore that I messed up the colors here. This is, again, most desirable to least desirable. We go Scar, Cull Obsidian, Cannonball, Sebastian Shaw, Corvus Glaive, Werewolf by Night, Annihilus, Ms. Marvel, Elsa, Blob, and Loki. It's Loki. What's up?
I would say I like this list. I might change Elsa and Miss Marvel. Just a personal preference.
They gave everyone to Elsa, though.
They did give everyone Elsa. That's true. But you had to log in opposed to just open up the game for the whole month, kind of like for
That's
Noel.
fair.
So
if you didn't log in, you missed Elsa.
But I agree. Like Loki definitely just is not the same. I know people have been playing Loki, but Yeah, I think this is fair, and it's cool with the Annihilus stuff. I'm seeing more people do and stuff. Like I think Toxic Soul King had a really cool Annihilus list. That was awesome.
Oh, we love Toxic Soul King. Also, Toxic Soul King, as we record this, is actually asleep and not live with us at 3 a.m. So bless him finally taking his sleep schedule seriously. All right, Roy, anything to add about the drops to 4?
Scar, I could have sworn, should have dropped the Series 3 by now.
Scar was a year old.
It feels longer. That card feels like it's been around forever. It's also, the most boring card ever conceived. But, no, it's hard to object. Again, I think they really did knock it out of the park overall with these series drops this time. I know there's been a lot of whining on the show in past times when we've done series drops, but these are all really just unobjectionable. Even if you don't like a specific card here, it's hard to criticize that they're all compelling in their own way. Even if they suck, like Hercules, they're all compelling in their own way. And it's good to see some sort of compelling cards, not just Howard the Duck, moving into Series 3.
Yeah, we just need another really, really bad High Series 1 drop. Because I'm not sure what we do with that one. I guess now that would be Silver Sable, right? Because they killed Silver Sable.
Friend
who
I spent tokens on.
Well, so the friend who doesn't know, not only was she nerfed way back, but she just has a fail state if she hits one of the spells, which is absurd. All right. Other patch things, and then we'll get to just talking about this month's cards. So first, they've codified end of turn as a keyword, which means that a bunch of cards now have end of turns. They've also codified created cards as new text. Any thoughts about either of those, Tom?
I really like that, we're getting more specific with the wording on cards. I think that's really great. I also really like the feature that they've added on some of these created cards. You can click on the card that creates cards and it gives you the extra pop-up in game in case you were kind of confused about the wording. But I like this idea.
Right.
Yeah, the more they codify things, the better. That's the key thing. And and also it opens design space, right? By making a clear statement about what end of turn is, they can have cards that fuck around with end of turn, right? That's something that's very important to always keep in mind with game design. Actually, people are like, oh, you keep things flexible, that creates more design space. Actually, codifying things creates design space because you have something specific to play off of, right? And they can now make designs that play around like this. And I'm really interested to see what they're going to do, because there's also some other new design space like Rose that they're moving into soon. So it really is an exciting time for Marvel's Snap Design. And Second Dinner continues to show that they're willing to take a pretty limited game engine and find interesting new mechanics within it. So
agree. I love this. I think that just having things make sense the first time you play them is really nice. And for pure selfish reasons, I do a lot of content around new cards. And as I was making the Agamotto new content, I was like, maybe this works with this. Maybe this works with that. Maybe it doesn't work with there's just no way to do that kind of thing. The more they codify this kind of stuff, the less of that confusion we'll have. So I'm all for that. We also have, and this is my favorite thing, so we're not going to have a lot to say about this, I bet. Maybe we do. Maybe I'm wrong. But Shauna and Iron Patriot, if you run Hip Shauna, the card she makes, if they have a Hip variant, will be Dan Hip variants. I lost a game to this earlier, by the way, or almost lost a game to this earlier. Iron Patriot will make, I guess Iron Patriot has the one variant. What's it? Is it Pharaoh?
Panart.
Pandart. Okay. So Iron Patriot will make Pandart variants when it makes cards. I don't know if anything else does. Tuck, do you know if anything else does?
I've only tried with Iron Patriot and seen the Shauna.
Fair enough. So I almost... Oh, no. Coulson does, too. Agent Coulson does, too. Because that's how I almost lost
Arishem?
Arishem does not yet.
Okay.
But
that's
Agent
going to be the big one.
Yeah. Well, Agent Coulson, my opponent dropped a War Machine, and I spent a bunch of time playing around a Dan Hip War Machine, and I spent a bunch of time playing around an Infinite. And I was on the call with Toxic Soul King, and Tox was like, why are you so worried about Infinite? He doesn't have Infinite. I was like, he's clearly got Infinite. If he's running War Machine, why else would you run? He's like, click the War Machine. I was like, oh, it's a variant. Part of my like heuristics of the game have changed. Still, this is like the best. Like that they didn't advertise this change is crazy because this is like one of the best things I've ever done. It makes me so happy every time like this happens. Like I'm ready to play Zoo just to see all the new variants. It's even got unreleased ones. Like there's a Hip Celine. You can get the Hip Celine from it. Like I'm all about this life. Let's go.
I got some Pandart Sarah. There was a Pandart Cersei I saw.
Yeah, that Pandart Cersei
is
was
crazy.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm like, why? Like this is such great advertising for their game. I love it. It's like remember, actually, I don't know if you played that far back, Doug. I know Roy did. Back before Thanos was released and before Galactus was released. Oh, you did play back then. Like sometimes, like a Triskelion or something would just give you the damn card. Like, wait, what? Wait, what?
Yeah.
Like that was so cool. Like I love that. I'm so like this is not exactly the same, but it's close enough, and I really like it.
Yeah, it's definitely a really cool thing that only a digital card game can do, right? Like, and I really like it. Yeah, I mean, I hope they do it for all of the cards that create known cards. Like, yeah.
I kind of like that Arishem doesn't, because like fuck Arishem, and like. You know what I mean? Like, if you're playing Arishem, you get the boring base art. Everyone else gets the cool art. But if you're playing Arishem,
much
take it.
Salt. Jesus. Like,
it's so boring.
Like, it's like you're guzzling soy sauce. Like, it's just so salty. Just about
soy sauce is delicious. That's basically what drinking ramen is, right? All right.
It's true.
As the Sanctum Showdown will be leaving in a few days as of this release, what are your final Sanctum Showdown thoughts, Tucker?
So I think Second didn't really hit it on the noggin when it comes to these Twitch drops. I think that really elevated a lot of the grindiness of this game mode opposed to some of these other game modes that we've had in the past. I did like the kind of like the diversity of like the way the game mode was opposed to some of these other game modes. But I think one of the best things they did is updating the ban list multiple times, or at least one time. I think that was really quick, and I think that was really great on their part in order to make sure that it wasn't too oppressive in the meta there. Of course, people then still were already running pretty much the same stuff, but I like that there were certain ideas. I like the Guardians being able to be played, and I liked that the shop was also really, really broad. It wasn't just like, oh, you get 5 potential things from playing this game mode. There was a variety of different options, and you had the opportunity to get some Series 4, Series 5 cards with the dupe protection. Like I opened up a Series 4, Series 5 to get Eson instead of having to open a cache, which was nice. So I enjoyed a lot of just that aspects of the game, or those aspects.
Yeah, right. I don't disagree with Tucker. I appreciate that it was a real attempt to do something different as a game experience. I think I know there's some discourse that like Deadpool's Diner was better. I like hard disagree with that. I way prefer the shop approach to the rewards over the like linear sort of leveling up. I think just overall it's a really good mode that I hope they bring back on the regular. I think it was probably the best first try of all of their game modes as well. I think maybe High Voltage might have like more compelling's not the word, more shocking gameplay. Like I think High Voltage is just a really silly format.
It'll be back.
I know it's gonna be back, which I like. Like it's a perfect thing to have for like a week, right? Like people do silly shit and then it's gone, right? But I think Sanctum really launched well. Like I think it's a good success story for Marvel Snap. I think the real econ heads can get into like was the scroll economy good enough? I didn't play enough to be honest with you to like say that like I didn't feel like it was good enough. But I think that might also be now Marvel Snap might like this. It's not like Deadpool's Diner again, where like if you don't feel like you're making this progress, you like feel like you're missing out. Here, when I like ran out of scrolls, I didn't get that same feeling. It didn't feel like toxic to me, which I really appreciated about Sanctum. So I liked it. I hope it comes back on the regular. It definitely got me to play more Snap that I played in a while. And so, yeah, few complaints.
Once I hit Sorcerer Supreme, I basically stopped playing Sanctum. I will end this mode, I think, with 12 scrolls in the holster. But that's fine. I had a really good time with it. I bought the stuff I wanted to out of it. If I didn't own cards, or if I was like resource choosy, I would still be playing that over ladder, right? Like, part of me thinks that this was like a soft test of their new economy, where they were going to be like, all right, like for special ranked matches, you can try and risk XYZ, and if you win the game, you get X back, and then you can buy your own cards this way, and that'll be like, in addition to spotlights, a way for you to be able to like build up stuff over time and get more stuff. And I think the community, if that's the case, the community reaction would have shut that down, I think. But I think we're at a point where I don't think the community is ever going to be happy with card access in this game. I'm going to be blunt. I honestly just think that, like, if they were like, here's sunshine and candies, they'd be like, no, I only like cheese and salt. Drinking soy sauce. So as things are, I think Sanctum was basically about as much of a home run as they could have had. It is both a reasonably fun mode to engage with for a week. And again, I didn't grind this excessively. I still played plenty of ladder and other modes, and I hit Sorcerer Supreme in week with the Twitch drops. Twitch drops were a home run idea. Whoever's idea that was, absolutely do that forever.
Absolutely.
So like with all that said, I think that this was absolutely great. And this is the cheapest they've ever given us Series 5 cards.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's not close. So at the end of the day, like, yes, more of this. And if people don't like it, well, then they're gonna have to learn to like value. I think that this was a home run mode, and they should continue to shake up ban lists and so on. Like maybe like let one clog card go and then like ban the other. You know what I mean? Just mess with things so that it remains fun. But even like, there's plenty of good decks in this mode now. Once the original bans really hit, there's a reasonable number of good decks. It's just gameplay is still super linear because you only have like one real goal each turn, right? So there's not like strategies like there are in real Marvel Snap, where you're like, if I play here now, I can do this later, or maybe I just give up that lane. That's not really a thing, right? A lot of Sanctum games at the end of the day ended up being like, you've dominated one lane, your opponent's dominated one lane. There's a lane you're competing for, and then like that last lane you're competing for goes whatever way it goes, and then the Sanctum is going to change. And if you were like, it's a 50-50 and not even like in choice, right? Like sometimes the Sanctum is going to be the location that you've dominated. Sometimes the Sanctum is going to be the location that your opponent's dominated. And whichever one it is, the game is just over for that person, which is a little annoying. But like at the end of the day, as a temporary mode, I'm okay with that. And I think that this was genuinely if this was what Marvel Snap was, I wouldn't play Marvel Snap. But if this is 2 weeks every 3 months of Marvel Snap, then great. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Any thoughts as to the return of Voltage?
I'm excited. It's a great short-term format. I hope the quests are better. That was always my complaint. I found them kind of annoying, but I've liked High Voltage. It's fun.
This is my favorite way to complete alliance bounties, was just doing High Voltage, just throwing random stuff out and completing bounties. Like, it just was a lot of fun, and it was kind of like turn your brain off. Well, I need to do this. Oh, I won this game. Oh no, I lost this game. Like, I know maybe it not being competitive isn't what people want. You know, they want competitive stuff, but I feel like at the end of the day, I just wanted to complete missions, do alliance stuff, and sometimes I don't want to sweat. So like sometimes I just want to play random stuff. Maybe I do want to get that turn 1 Mr. Negative or that turn 1 Wiccan, and then just see how the game takes me.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's throw some shitty cards at the wall. Like this is High Voltage is awesome for a week. Again, once I complete my free card, I'm never looking at this freaking mode again. But for that like couple days, I'm just like, woo, let's do it. Oh, I've got new missions, 3 missions. Let's see how fast we can do it. It is fun. It's energetic. I think both Voltage and Sanctum sort of nailed the short-term mode thing, and I'm really happy it's back. And giving us cards for it is really cool. If they went crazy, they could give us a like unknown Series 4 selector somewhere on that Voltage track, which would go a long way, right? Like, I think that kind of little thing really does help card acquisition, and they could improve it enough so that this isn't their big anchor without it like needing this massive overhaul. That's it.
Yeah.
No one talked, so we're moving on to our first new card. It is Agamotto. I'm gonna all right, so we do have the 4 ancient arcana. So let's go through all of Agamotto and then we'll talk about him as a whole. So Roy, do you want to read him?
Sure. All right. So we've got Agamotto. He is our season pass card, and he is a 5/10. Oh baby. All right. Series 5, 6K tokens. Oh, here we go. Everybody's favorite keyword. Game start. Shuffle 4 ancient arcana into your deck. All right, Glazer. What's the arcana?
I need to click right. Sorry. Wait.
All right. We've got ancient arcana on reveal. Inflict an enemy card here with -5 power and move it right, and then you banish the winds of Watum.
That one costs 2.
Costs 2. Excuse me.
Power.
Yep. Yeah. This one costs 1. It's the temporal manipulation, and it says on reveal, give Agamotto +3 power. Put him into your hand if he's not in play. Banish this. All right. This is a 3 cost. Ooh. 3 energy spell. On reveal, next turn you get +4 energy. This is busted. Banish this.
It's the bolts of Balzac, and you didn't even say it. All right.
Oh, I didn't. I apologize. Images of Icon or whatever is a 4 cost ancient arcana. On reveal, transform your other cards here into copies of the highest power 1. Banish this.
All right.
All right.
So what have your experience with Agamotto been, Tuck?
So this is another season pass home run. I think this card is awesome. I think what I really like especially when it comes to season pass cards is flexibility, and this is a flexible card. Yes, it does put more cards into your deck, but there's a targeted draw spell that only costs 1, which after watching your video today too, Glazer, it is probably the worst spell of which is crazy. Yes, it gives Agamotto +3 and he does draw him, but if you compare him to all the stuff the other stuff does, like it's wonderful. Like just all the different stuff you can do with this, you can do. I've seen people, of course, play this in Scream because you have the movement you can do with Scream where you're already afflicting them, moving them already, but now you also get -5 afflicted as well, plus the Scream interaction, potentially a Kingpin interaction, and that just goes burr. Also, like the spell that draws Agamotto can also revive him from your destroy pile or your discard pile, which is really interesting. So like that's a new kind of
I watched you learned that on a Marvel Snap Daily Dose.
Yep. You did. I did. I lost a game because I tried to Ghost Rider him back and I was like, wait, why is this back in my hand? So that was interesting. But I like this card. I wouldn't be surprised if they tweak something about this card in the future or near future. Maybe a couple things about this card. But it just goes to show you another thing about just buying the season pass every season.
Right.
People are gonna hate this card. I'm just gonna it's just it's just season pass Erishim, or season pass Thanos. All of these Game Start cards are super cool. And the idea of creating quote unquote spells, like are in more traditional card games.
There's skills, Roy. Do you want to get sued?
Oh yeah, skills, whatever. What trainer cards in Pokemon, like these sort of like non-character, although they are characters, right? Like, because it does trigger stuff. Cards, super interesting design space. Are they going to regret that they opened the Pandora's box of this design space over time? I think the safe money is on yes. I think they will also, like every other GameStar card, come to regret Agamotto. Particularly, I think he's the most accessible of these. That right? Because the other two, well, there's 3 of them, right? There's High Evolutionary. There's this one. There's Thanos. There's Erishim. There's 4, right? Am I missing one? Like, then our games start.
I mean, Sam Wilson
Oh,
has
Sam
a game
Wilson,
start ability. There's a few
Yeah.
others.
So, and all of them but Sam, they have come to regret at some point in their balanced lifetime. And so I think in a couple months, Agamotto is going to be the card that the salt mines are open for. And that's sort of my main takeaway. He's super cool, though. I really wish he wasn't one of these dumb 1 million BC Avengers characters, but like, whatever. I am going to whine about that this entire episode. But, you know.
So I have real takes, but first, the most important take is, why did they make Tuccrr a card first of everyone? Like, I mean, I get it, right? But like, my money was on Cozy or Dexter, and they were like, we're gonna make a Marvel Snap creator a card, and we're starting with Tuccrr. He's our fave. So fucking fine, I guess. Like, right? But like, shit. If we had odds makers on this, someone made a lot of money.
Oh my goodness.
Are
Betting
all
on
Doctor
Tuck.
Strange cards, Tuccrr cards? Is that what we're learning here?
No. The Agamotto specifically is just Tuccrr. It just is.
I would actually say Tuccrr has a better beard than Agamotto. I'm just gonna come out there and I'm gonna say that, friends. All right, like
It's Tuccrr after he loses a subathon. Like, you gotta shave it into a goatee.
You gotta make your beard like shitty off-brand Doctor Strange.
Yeah,
I wouldn't wish that upon you at all, Tuccrr.
yeah, but his
my
chat can be mean,
gosh.
so you got problems. This card is nuts. So like, it's that it allows such swingy things, and it's really hard to know the range. A lot of what Marvel Snap has been doing in 2025 specifically has been like, up to this point in Marvel Snap's lifespan, you've almost always had a good idea of what the range of cards, what the range of power your opponents can do. Part of the problem with Arishem and part of how he broke that paradigm was he completely said, no, you don't. And like, that was a big thing, right? But so much of 2025 has been like, no, the range is everything you can imagine. Figure it out. You're like, there's going to be big wild swings. And Agamotto's a big wild swing card. All of a sudden, my opponent has, or I have 3 Galactas, and I'm triggering that for a turn, right? Or all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my god, is that Bar Sinister I see? Let's have plus 12 energy next turn. Let's go. Like, there's just, there's absolutely insane things. Oh my god. You can pump with I lost the name of the card. JTF with the Falcon. You can pump Agamotto's 3 twice. You can make him a 5/16. More if you want to do any Wong silly shenanigans. Like, there's just and that's without even getting to what's probably the best one. The I chuck you to the right and give you -5. Your opponent doesn't have Luke. That thing is freaking game-breakingly powerful. Holy shit, is that strong. It basically says you thought you played a card, but in fact what you played was a goblin on your side. Have fun. Like, and I don't have any downside, right? I don't have to risk you filling the lane or anything else. Like, no, just take the negative power. Like, suck it up. This card is insanely good. The more I've played it, the more I've been like, oh. I think what their theory was like, well, we released Arishem, right? And everyone went and got Arishem. But what they did was people just hoarded tokens for Arishem. They saved spotlight caches, and we didn't make any extra money off Arishem, which sucks. We want to make money off our big, crazy, splashy cards. How about if it's a season pass? Let's sell it to them. Give us $10 or you can't play with our broken new toy. So I expect this one to be broken for quite a while. At least like 2 months. I think they're eventually going to have to tweak the spells. They'll probably make him a 5/9. But like, this card is absolutely fantastic. I think we're at, how long ago was October? October, November, December, January, February, March? 6 months.
Yeah.
We're at 6 straight completely insane season pass cards. Because like, the month before that was Symbiote Spidey. Symbiote Spidey's not insane. But like, we went 6 months in a row of just busted season pass cards. And like, I couldn't even begin to figure out how to rank them. But like, they're almost all completely incredible. And he's just another one in that line. He might be the most desirable of them, though. Because it's just like, here is a flashy card that does a flashy thing that, like, this is the only way you can get.
I think, yeah, I mean, on flashy, it's hard to beat game start. I mean, the more I think about it, the fact that they printed a removal spell into Marvel Snap with the and it costs only 2 energy is kind of wild.
Well, it's not a
Like-
removal spell. It's a
It minus 5 power and move them from the lane that they're supposed to be. Like, short of, like, literally destroy your opponent's card, which, if they did that, that would be wild. Like, this is the closest you'll ever get to a Doomblade or a... what did they call them in Thrones? What was the card?
oh my god. Yep, that one.
That one, yeah. Like, something like that is
It was a
crazy.
start card.
Yeah.
I don't
No quarter
remember.
or whatever.
Yes, no quarter. You got it.
Something like that, like, is wild. And it only costs 2 energy. Like, that I think is going to get increased. Like, the fact that you can, on turn 4, play a 2-drop and reduce your opponent's power and screw up their placement is...
So I'm going to tell you why I'm not complaining about it. Because
You
Iron
bought it?
Patriot is my... No, I hate a lot of cards I buy. Iron Patriot's one of my least favorite cards ever. I hate Iron Patriot. I don't like the minigame it creates. I don't like the range it creates. I don't enjoy it. I feel like an Iron Patriot, like, they win and snap, like, that's really fucking obnoxious as a turn 2 play. And Agamotto's removal spell is just like, fuck you, Iron Patriot. Oh, you thought you were going to win that lane? No. Enjoy suffering. And I'm a big fan of anything that makes that stupid card a little bit worse.
And it works with Quinjet. I think that's another good big thing about Agamotto is that, like, because, you know, original Thanos worked with Quinjet too, and that also was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it works with Quinjet. It works on Hope Summers.
Mhm.
It, like, the 4-1 can be made cheaper with Zabu. Like, there's a lot of really, really cool synergies here. King Eitri meta. Holy shit, who had that on their bingo card? Like, is King Eitri, like, they're like, did they make that based off Robitussin? Because he's, like, tiny and blonde. And then, like, they're like, Eitri and Agamotto, we set it up.
Well, Robo's actually a ginger. Fun fact.
Oh, well, he doesn't look it, so.
Oh my god. All right. I'm making an executive decision. Move on from Agamotto. Move on to the shitty
Sentinel?
Eternal.
Not Sentinel.
Eternal.
Celestial.
There we go. We got there. All right. So we have a 6/10 Eson. I don't know. I really could not stand the Jason Aaron Avengers run. So after each turn, put a card from your hand that didn't start in your deck here. All right. Tuccrr. Yeah.
So, like, this card isn't, like, horrible. Like, it's, of course, it's expensive. Like, you either ramp it out to actually get, like, the most value from it, or you have to keep those generated cards in your hand in order to get value at the end of the game. I've had a lot of success actually playing this card in, like, a Black Knight style list, and it is a lot of fun there. I think everyone was like, well, it's a Celestial, it has to go with Arishem. You know, they just made this for Arishem kind of thing. And then, like, I've had people like, well, what if it pulls a spell? Isn't it horrible if it pulls a spell from Agamotto? It's like, no. But, like, of course, this
having
is...
a bunch of 6/10s in a lane is good.
He said, oh, okay. Like, I had some interactions where people actually, had like 3 Esons in a lane, or like 3 Esons across the board because of spells and stuff, and it was just like a bunch of craziness happening. They didn't win that game, but it still was very just interesting. Cool. It's still cool. Nick Fury went off like 3 times too, so it was just 6 drops raining from the sky. But, like, this is a card that in most decks I probably wouldn't include, but, like, if my Valentina generates an Eson, I'm not upset. Or, like, if my Hulkling is an Eson, it's not the worst thing. It just really is a situational kind of card that I think we gave a really bad rap to start the season. And actually seeing it in action now, I think, is another potentially just fun card. And I really understand why it came out the same week as Agamotto, just to have another way to get those spells on the board if you couldn't otherwise.
Yeah, I think this card is cool, but it's kind of boring. And also asks a lot of you. I just don't know if it's, like, really worth it. I mean, with the obviously outside the Agamotto synergy, right? But, like, this is an Arish, you know, the obvious synergies, Arishem or Nick Fury, and, like, cool stuff. But, like, I just don't think it's, like, going to be high end competitive. But, like, as just a fun dumb shit card, this is cool. I kind of wish it was, like, 5 and, like, less power, just so you didn't have to ramp it out. Like you could get 2 turns worth of it just like naturally playing it, I think would be, I think, a little bit interesting. The fact is both asks you to ramp and asks you to have created cards is like a lot of tension in this card. But maybe that's the safest thing, right? It is sneak attacking stuff into play. That's really powerful. So I don't know. I like this card as a fun card. I would never spend spotlight caches on it, though.
I like it significantly more than I thought I was going to. It's what I hit Infinite with Agamotto. It doesn't need a lot to be very good, which I think is what makes it really impressive for me. Because it's a 6/10, right? Like, it's a 6/10 that ends up playing fairly often, even if you play it on 6, as like a 6/20. And that's a lot of power. But sometimes your lanes are clogged and it's really hard to figure out where to play it, and you lose games because of that. Sometimes it pulls just the wrong thing. There's enough tension here that I think this is more interesting than I thought. And it's done a decent job of bringing back Black Knight, which always makes me happy. Black Knight, I think, is a really, really cool design. So seeing that come back is very cool. Playing it with just like White Queen, Black Knight, and Agamotto seems totally fine. And like that has been a valid play pattern. This doesn't need a million things to hit. It doesn't need a million triggers. Like, so I'm for it. It's also like people are playing Hulkling with this as a way to be like, let's go crazy. And like, hell yeah, we got a little mini Hulkling meta. This is like, I usually hate big 6-drops. This is my favorite 6-drop they've released that I can think of. Like, this might be my favorite 6-drop in Marvel Snap. Is it great and should you buy it? Probably not. Like, if you bought Agamotto, it's at least decent because the cards go well together. But like, outside of that, I think that this is, again, like, 6s are almost inherently boring, right? Because it's like, if you make a fun 6-drop, it's probably just going to break something. But like, so this is about as good, I think, as a 6-drop in Marvel Snap can get, and I'm for it. Not my favorite thing, but I'm for it. It's a 6-drop that I play, which is like rare.
All right, let's talk about the spotlight cache.
Okay.
All right, so we've got a pretty cool 1970s style variant, a Beta Ray Bill, and Wiccan. Tuccrr, thoughts? And of course, as always, is this a open tokens or pass week for you?
If you do not have Wiccan, this is a open week.
Okay.
Because I think Wiccan is a must-have. If you do have Wiccan and you want Eson, I'm still wavering between the open. I'm not fully like saying spend 6K on Eson. But also if you're missing Beta Ray Bill, I wouldn't necessarily say open for Beta Ray Bill. I do like the Wiccan variant. The Beta Ray Bill variant looks awesome animated, and I love Alex Horley's with the Eson if you're just looking at variants. But I only would like truly like 100% open for Wiccan. Otherwise, I would say for some of these other cards we have coming out later this season that I think are just better.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think you should get Wiccan, and if you don't have Arishem or Agamotto, you shouldn't get Eson. But if you like playing those decks, then Eson's pretty good. And Beta Ray Bill doesn't matter. Although he's a horse god, so he's kind of amazing.
Where I will disagree with you guys is I think that this Wiccan variant is ugly.
Fair enough.
Really ugly.
Okay.
Like, just like actively just terrible. The other two are cool, though. The other two are cool.
Wait, you think the Wiccan is ugly?
Yeah.
One of my favorite variants in the game. I really, really like it.
Wow.
Have you seen it animated, Roy?
No, I haven't seen it animated. No. I'm sure that with the extra thing, I'm sure it looks cool, but just the core art design, I think, is really bad. So.
Fair enough, but yeesh. All right. Also, yeah, if you like get Wiccan, Wiccan's gonna keep being meta, right? Like, all right. Next up, Roy's favorite design,
Starbrand. Oh my
this
God.
is what Roy wishes he looked like.
Oh, I mean, it's true every day. That's why I hit the gym, bro. Every single day, man. Yo, me and my whey powder. This is what our goal is. This is hashtag 2025 core. All right. So Starbrand is a 3/10. Oh, baby. Scar players, look out. All right. with the ongoing, your opponent has +3 power at each other location. Tuccrr, what do you think of the ultimate drawback card?
So I am a very avid Sauron enjoyer. So like I enjoy this card having another ongoing I could just remove. But power creep, is just a thing. And we were talking about boring cards. This is another boring card. It's a 3/10, so it has, the downside. Of course, maybe that's not boring. Maybe you're seeing the animation of the +3 power going to the other locations is cool.
It does look cool.
But I think this is, of course, they talked about it in the OTA. This is why Surtur and Scar got nerfed, because this card was coming out. And even like with the Scar nerf, Scar may not be free at the end of the game, but you could play this out with Scar if you just have 2 10s on the board as well. So like they have that value there. I mean, I think it's going to be a genuinely good card, but it's a boring card.
Right.
Yeah, this card is super boring. It's a Scar card. It's a, oh my god, what's the other thing that's payoff for
Fury Sauron?
Yeah, Sauron. Yeah. It's just boring as hell. Like, it's just a drawback card that isn't a drawback. Hell, it's not even horrific in like a Spectrum deck, right? Like anything that a deck that rewards you for having a cheap, high cost or high strength card, and you can make the drawback not as painful, whether that is Spectruming at the end of the game or getting rid of the ongoing. Boring Marvel character, utterly forgettable. I'm sorry, friends. Who was out there like sad that Starbrand didn't have a card? Yeah,
Jason Aaron.
Yes, you're right. Jason Aaron. Besides Jason Aaron,
Aaron Jason.
Aaron Jason. It's just, I don't know. This card is just so boring. It's literally putting me to sleep.
So like they're gonna regret this card. 3/10's too much. There's like no way they don't regret this card. I don't know what they do to it. Maybe it needs to give like +4 to each other location, but like this card is going to be a problem. Yeah, this card is going to be a problem, right? Like this, there's almost no way that 3/10 just isn't put. Like we have like 2 5/10s in the game. There's no way that making a 3/10 is a thing that makes sense for them to do. Like, okay. I don't even know how to like play around this, right? Like, better get a Cosmo in its lane, but then you can't chunk it. But like, oh man, this card's a nightmare. I don't know. This is going to be phenomenal. Yeah, Winds of Tomb. 3/5. Except now it's that's a really good answer. Winds of Tomb is so good.
You are cooked if somebody wins a Tomb. Like you're just like, just click the concede button.
Yeah,
like,
that's amazing.
It's like, wow, I have a 3/5 and it's not in the lane I want it to be, and the other 2 lanes have +3 power.
So you played a 3 -1. Oh yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
I was talking about Spotlight Cash.
Yeah, Winds of Tomb. Oh man. Winds of Tomb is the first one they're nerfing, just for the record.
Yes. So we got Starbrand with this. He gets the 1970s style Frank Frazetta influenced one. We've got a Fastos and we've got a Scar. Tuccrr, tokens, open, pass.
So if you're missing Scar, even though Scar is Series 4 now, you open this week. I think if you're missing Fastos, honestly, Fastos is very
suddenly
interesting.
Good.
Yeah, he's actually suddenly good. He works with the spells because it's a targeted only, gives him the negative cost because he can't give them any power. So you have that going for you as well. I honestly would probably open this week. I know it is 2 Series 4 cards with a Series 5 card, and I'm normally not on the same page wanting to open that week because the value is normally not as great. But Starbrand is going to be a meta-relevant card, even though he is boring, and even though he may have some niche decks. I think just the power is there. And like Glazer said, they'll eventually make some changes to him in the future, whether that is +4 to go with kind of like the Hulk stuff they've had in the past, with Red Hulk being +4 originally and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is a good week to open.
Glazer?
Do you love boring decks? If so, open this week. If you really want to play Sauron, Scar, or Hela, this is the week for you. If you would instead like to play an interactive card game with other people, then perhaps skip this week. Skada is sitting there, like, rubbing his hands together so excitedly that he's going to start a fire about this week. But for most, like, if that's your type of deck, just open this week, right? Like, what are you talking about? If you've been dying to play the Scar deck, like, then go get it. If you love, like, the idea of Sauron, go get it. You don't need Fastos, but, like, Fastos is fine. I personally need the Spotlight Fastos because my Fastos variant is incredibly ugly. But, like, this is a fairly easy go get it week if you just want to compete with top level decks. I also fully expect, and I'm going to say this now because this is going to come out in Spotlights on Tuesday, and then there's going to be an OTA on Thursday. If you are getting Scar to play in Hela decks, I would bet, like, a lot that Hela deck is getting nerfed into oblivion by Thursday. So, like, wait till Thursday before you open, if you're opening for Scar and Hela.
Yeah, I like these spotlight caches that are build your own deck.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, you open to get Starbrand, you also have a deck here. It's like pretty idiot proof that you play these cards together.
That all month, right? Like, Wiccan goes with Eson and Agamotto. Starbrand goes with Scar. We'll get to the next one soon.
Oh, Firehawk.
Hair.
Oh, Hair. Excuse me, Firehair. You're right. I don't know why I read that as Firehawk.
It's dumber than Firehawk.
Yes, it's Firehair. Thank you, Jason Aaron. She's a 2/3. Series 5/6K tokens. When one of your cards is destroyed, this uses that card's on reveal. This triggers multiple times, right?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So if you Venom a whole lane, you get all of the on reveals from her, correct?
If you Misery a whole lane, you get all those on reveals like 3 times. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Cool. Thoughts, feelings, opinions, Tuccrr?
So, like, this is my favorite card of the season. It's gonna be it is like one of the main reasons why Yondu was changed. Because they knew that this was going to be a card that was going to pair well with Mill and Yondu. Yondu now banishes, if you guys did not know, instead of destroying cards. And if you just repeatedly destroying cards, Firehair gets that prompt as well. And now you also have Joaquin Torres, who also just got buffed in the OTA this past week, which Glazer, you kind of called that a little bit. And I think Roy wanted the idea of him being a 2/3. He's 2/2, but pretty close to keeping that going, which is pretty cool. But I think this card, even though her decks might be quote unquote a little bit more narrow, I think this card is a solid card. Also, I think it's a very solid investment piece, especially looking at the May season, which we'll get to that later down the road. If you guys have not watched Glazer's video on it, by the way, you guys should watch the Dynamite video that Glazer posted talking about Elixir. But I do think that this card is going to be a solid card, and I think continually will get better unless they nerf it, because good cards do get nerfed, right?
This has to have a limit. Sorry, Roy, go ahead. Like, it's nerf, right? You just say limit twice per game or something? Like, go ahead.
I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I think this card's super cool. I agree with Tuccrr that it's my favorite card of the month. It's probably, honestly, the only interesting card besides Agamotto. But it's not just straight up busted. I think it will end up being straight up busted. But I don't think right now it is, because I think this is a card that is feast or famine. Like, if you build a deck around her, I think you don't really have redundancy. And I think that if there's another effect that doesn't necessarily do the same thing, but does something similar that comes out in the future. Misery, yeah, but
that's the redundancy. Like, Misery does the same thing she does. Except that if you do them both together, now it goes completely crazy.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like this card is like one piece away. That's sort of my take on it. But I do love it, and I am going to suggest that folks open, which we'll get to in a minute, for this week.
Yeah, I think mill decks are completely wild with this. Like, completely wild with this. Even if Yondu doesn't destroy, like, just banishing 2 cards with Yondu from their deck cabling 2 cards, and now they have no more cards. Right? Like,
Yeah.
that's it. It's over. Like, and I can do that while I have 3 or 4 demons. I would like 3 or 4 demons. 1/6 is a lot of power. This card feels like it's going to be completely broken. I hope I'm wrong. Like, because it's cool, but like, multiple on reveals is powerful. And being able to get like 3 on reveal triggers without any extra real work, just by like dropping this and then doing what the rest of the deck wants to do anyway, seems really good. Like, really good.
I think Darkhawk value too, potentially.
Cassandra Nova value.
Mm-hmm.
That Cassandra Nova Phoenix Force deck was so much fun.
Cassandra Nova value. That is a spoiler.
Yeah, it is. They planned that. Well,
Oh!
okay. So wait. So here's the play pattern. Ready? You play Firehair. You play Cassandra Nova. You play Phoenix Force on it. You then play Misery on that Phoenix Force.
Oh god, here we go.
Firehair gets the Cassandra Nova trigger. That's -3 to every card in their deck. And Phoenix Force ends up, you get like a triple triggered Cassandra Nova that's flying around. It's so good. It was good without Firehair. It's great now. And then you drop a Darkhawk.
Fun times. Tuccrr, thoughts about these spotlight caches?
I think this is the best spotlight week of the season. It has one of the best one drops, if not what I'd say is the best one drop in the game with Nico Minoru. It's got Cassandra Nova, first time appearing back in spotlights, or first time in spotlights since she was released in Deadpool's Diner. And Firehair, the Firehair variant also is incredible. I've seen it animated too, and it's just chef's kiss. It's Cassandra Nova playing golf with skulls, by the way, which is also very interesting, a little morbid. And then Nico is going to have some awesome animation. This week overall, I would open. And if you don't want another Cassandra Nova or you don't want another Nico, spend tokens. I think this is a card that's a must-have.
Right.
Agreed. I like the Cassandra Nova variant too. The Nico variant, I'm like, I might want to see it animated. It's still not going to beat the Midnight Suns one, in my opinion, but it's really quite solid. And yeah, and she's one of my favorite cards. Most weeks, Nico is available, and the card that she's with is good. I'm going to recommend open. So,
hey Roy, have you watched the new Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man?
I did. I do not know why Nico is Peter's best friend, but like,
I figured you would be happy.
Whatever. Like, yeah, it's a pretty good series. I haven't watched Daredevil yet. I'm going to.
Yeah, me neither. I actually didn't realize it came out, and someone on stream earlier was like, "What are your thoughts on Daredevil?" I was like, "Oh, I should watch it. Those are my thoughts."
I was going to watch it last night, but then I went to bed.
I think people should have all 3 of these cards, right? Like, these are 3 cards that are just good to own. If you're sick of losing to Arishem, just own Cassandra Nova. It, like, solo turns that into a positive matchup. Nico goes in, like, 4 or 5 different decks at any given time, and Firehair seems broken. This is, like, the easiest week on Earth to open. Khonshu Waxing is now a 6/8. Go ahead.
Okay. So Khonshu is a 6/5. Okay. So what happens with this card?
Want me to do this?
All right. When he's discarded.
All right, so when he's discarded.
Oh, sure. Go ahead.
When he's discarded. So you start with a 6/5. When he's discarded, he returns in his next phase. You can also just play him. If you play him, he resurrects a different card you discarded in another location with its power set to 5. Cool. So you discarded 1 card, you play 6/5 Khonshu, whatever. If you discard Khonshu, he returns in the phase Khonshu Waxing. That is 6/8 now, excuse me. They made that 6/8 in the most recent data mine. Or maybe it was the video, whatever, who cares? It's 6/8 now. It has the same when discarded. It has another phase when discarded. On reveal, resurrect a card discarded from another location with its power set to now 8. So, cool, gets better. Khonshu Full, 6/12. On reveal, resurrect a card you discarded to another location with its power set to 12. And that's where you want to be, right? That one you cannot discard. If you discard Khonshu Full, it's just gone. Although you can discard Khonshu Full and then hell it back or Ghost Rider back if you get lucky. Tuccrr.
Yeah, Order will come first, I think, with the Hela too. Because like if Hela resurrects everything before the Khonshu hits the board, Khonshu won't revive everything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just pure luck at that point. Or if you have like another 6, now you're 50-50 Hela, right?
Mm-hmm. I like this as like a card design. I think it's cool to have like another alternative that can like just pop back into your hand, like opposed to just like an Apocalypse or a Scorn, and give you some value in that sense playing it out. I think that's why they have, the Spotlight Wheat the way it is, which, we'll talk about in the next slide. But I think this card's gonna be interesting. I like that Lady Sif probably will be back into some decks now, opposed to the past couple. I'd say since Bullseye released, Lady Sif kind of just got cut, and Bullseye just did docking things instead. So it's cool just to have another line of discard, which I know some people just hate playing against discard overall, because they can't really interact with it and stuff. So I understand that. But it's interesting. Like, am I actually going to play out this Khonshu at its 5 cost? Do I have the enablers to discard it again to get it potentially to a 12? Like, I like that question that you have to kind of ask yourself, or your opponent has to kind of ask you. But it'll be just really interesting, I feel, just to see what people build with this. So it can be fun.
Roy?
This card is both really cool and a huge abomination. It has so much text. Like,
well, it's only got one text, right?
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. Okay. Sure.
At a time.
It's just over designed. Like, it's super cool and very thematic, but also like it's an abomination. Like they were cooking so much that they burnt the meal, I think, in the end.
My food burnt
just a little bit. Then Glazer will love this card. But this is probably, besides Firehair or whatever, is probably my second favorite card in the month. I'll probably end up buying him with tokens because I already have the rest of the cards in the Spotlight Cache. Yeah, just over designed, but super cool as a sort of quote unquote fixed Apocalypse is kind of what this is. And yeah.
So, this feels more like a fixed Hela to me, but similar. We're like sort of smashing the two together. I think that what you ultimately want to do is discard this twice and then either get Iron Man or Gore discarded. And then, like, if those are the two things you discarded with Khonshu, you play this as the top end in whatever other lane you've been using to discard, and you have like a decent 20-something power lane there. And then you just have like a 40 power Gore or a 24 power Iron Man in another lane, and that should be like, generally speaking, pretty powerful. I don't think this is going to be great, but I don't really give a shit. This is really cool. I like them doing new things. This is a brand new deck all by itself, and I love when they give us new decks. So hey, yay Khonshu, even if like I don't want it to be good. So people are talking about this all the time, and I haven't had a chance to say this anywhere about like why Hela is so broken. Hela is so broken because they made all the discards targeted. When all the discard in Marvel Snap was completely random, when Blade was just like chuck a random card, when like Lady Sif was the only real targeted one, right? Like Moon Knight used to just be discard a card from both of your hands, not even cost. When all of the random discard bullshit, like the Hell Cow was just discard 2 cards and not like activate. When all the discards were completely random and untimed, Hela was fine because like half the time your opponent would just discard Hela. But now that like there's like you basically never, if you're any good with it, at risk of discarding Hela. That's what makes it too good. Khonshu feels like it's a direct response to that, where like targeted discard doesn't make this a problem. It makes this cool, and it's just like got inherent inconsistency built into it. I think this is a very, very cool card.
Yeah. All right, so we got Khonshu, super cool, probably the best variant of the month. Corvus Glaive and Scorn. I also like the Scorn variant.
I like that Corvus Glaive looks confused. It's like, do I stabby? Do I not stabby? Is it stabby time?
So I like that Scorn's back in spotlights already. Like I feel like it's like a quicker return for Scorn. If you're missing Scorn, I would and you enjoy discard, because this is an entirely discard week, I would open. If you don't enjoy discard, you might not enjoy Khonshu, so I can't say to open there. Corvus Glaive, if Corvus Glaive was still Series 5, which he should not be Series 5, I'm just saying for the sake of argument, it would probably be a better potentially open if you're trying just to have more Series 5 cards. If you are missing Scorn, just overall though, I think like you would open this week, because I think Scorn is a must-have just for discard overall. And I think Khonshu is going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to have a lot of fun with this card, but I can't say unless you enjoy discard to really open this week.
Right?
Yeah, I own all these cards, so I will not personally open. But if you are interested in Khonshu and don't already own these two cards, which I find it hard to imagine a Discord enjoyer, unless they're truly a new player, doesn't have these two cards. But if you took a break from the game and need to refresh your discard collection, perfect week for you. So like it's kind of an all-in. I think if you are interested in Khonshu, you're going to either open or spend tokens. It's feast or famine. Like if you are just not interested in Khonshu, I think it's an easy skip. I don't think he's anywhere near a generic card. And then you don't need to open, because there's nothing that doesn't already feed degenerate discard players. There's nothing for anybody else in this week.
So every week this month has something that's like a requirement for one deck or another, right? And that's a really cool place to be. We have Scar, we have Wiccan, we have Scorn, and then we have, I guess Nico and Cassandra aren't really as must-have, but they're just more generically good. And they're the only ones with all Series 5. So, like, I think this month is just, like, crazy good for people's collections. But it's also asking players to figure out what types of decks they want to build toward. Because if you're going to put multiple cards that go in the same deck in one spotlight, then people need to know what they want to build toward. If you want to play discard, go get these cards. Corvus will only be good if Khonshu is good. You don't actually need Corvus for anything else in real life. But, like, if Khonshu is good, and we'll know relatively quickly, then we want Corvus. And you probably want Scorn just because, Scorn. Good in discard.
Yeah. All right. Time for our final segment.
Yeah.
All right. It's very end of the week, which we've done almost every week for almost 3 years. There's one correct answer and one wrong answer. We're at a 50-50 here. So we've got the Noir Nick Fury. Who picked that one?
I did.
Why'd you pick that one, Tucker?
I just really like the Noir variants, and like when it came to the Nick Fury ones, I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." I like the way the Reign's animated in game.
You picked this one too?
I picked that one too. That one's great. It feels really, really cool. Like Nick Fury is supposed to be Mr. Secret Agent Man, and this one is like super, super Mr. Secret Agent Man. It's really great design. I also wish they made 2 different Nick Fury characters, because I'm one of the few people who has I never hear anyone talk about like classic Nick Fury, but I loved classic Nick Fury. Like, I thought that was a really cool character. He's in a bunch of really, really cool stories. And I wish, like, much like there's 2 Sam Wilsons or whatever, or sorry, 2, Sam Wilson is 2 different characters. Yeah, whatever. I want both Nick Furies, like, pretty damn badly. And also, like, I featured Nick Fury this week because Eson came out. And when the hell else are we going to talk about Nick Fury? Roy likes Samuel L. Jackson a lot. Go ahead.
Yes. I mean, there's only one. I like the Noir one. It's great. It's really good. But there's only one variant in Marvel Snap with Samuel L. Jackson's signature. You can get a lot of cool Noir variants, but how many variants can have Samuel L. Jackson signature? I mean,
limited edition too.
Limited edition, yeah. Like, I got it. You don't. Eat shit. All right, like. I got Sam Jackson's signature. You didn't, newer player. All right. So, yes, I respect my friends Tucker and Glazer's opinion here, but there's only one correct answer, objectively, and that's the one with Sam Jackson's signature on it.
If they had put it on a variant, you might have had me. That it's just the base art with his signature is amazing.
It's literally the best thing ever. When they gave this to me, it brought me so much joy, Aaron. Like, I cannot tell you how much. Like, when I just switched my Nick Fury variant to that one, I was just like, this is so much joy. what also brings me joy is Tuccrr's content. So, Tuccrr, if our loyal listeners and loyal viewers were to become your loyal listeners and loyal viewers, what would they find in your content?
So when it comes to my content, I think the biggest thing I want whenever someone is either watching for the first time or has come back to watch again is that this is just a group hangout and we are all friends. We are all equals here. Anyone can voice their opinion, whether it is right for some people or wrong for other people. We're just all around here to have a good time and make people feel welcomed because we're all friends. We're a community, and as the community grows, we all grow. And that's just my main thing at the end of the day is to make at least one person smile because you never know how far that smile goes for someone, whether it affects just their day, their month, their week, year, or whatever, just to help make people happy.
There for you. So the other day I wandered into Tuccrr's stream, and he was like playing Marvel Snap, and I almost had a heart attack. It's like, oh my god, look, there's no one going pew pew pew. I can actually like have a conversation here. It's really, really great.
Hate
And then
of Marvel Gooners,
and then he switched to that pew 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 game. But I stuck around because I really, really like Tuccrr. If you didn't get that, so I like watched him go pew pew pew, and he didn't jump in little circles enough, so I'm not sure he's actually good at the game. He kept like standing in one spot, and I feel like that's not what you're supposed to do. But I learned something there. I was really impressed because Tuccrr, while he's trying to shoot 1 million people and play a bunch of card games, still has this amazing balance of like engaging with and talking to and hearing his community and seeing what everyone says and making sure everyone seems valued. And like it like I said to him on his stream, I was like, you are so talented at this, because like it's something that I consistently struggle with, right? Like I got a raid of like a bajillion people yesterday, and like it took me like 10 minutes to notice. I looked down and was like, why are there so many people here? And like Kidley is like, hi, I rated you. Like, thanks. I was like, I had no idea. I was like, I had to decide my last turn. There was no chat at that moment. There was just like focus, and like that Tuccrr is able to like A, be excellent at Marvel Snap, but be like, and excellent at pew pewing, I guess. But like be able to do both of those things while still keeping track of everything. Like he is genuinely one of the best at the I don't know if I want to go as far as to call it an art, but like let's fucking go there. At the art of streaming. My cat is now scratching the couch, sorry. So my wife sprinted to stop him. He's one of the best at the art of streaming that I've ever like come across. So if you want to see like great streaming, someone who's like capable of juggling the 8,000 things at once that it really requires, Tuccrr is who you go to. He's the best. Go follow him. TUCCRR, because he's the best, not the best at spelling, but he is the best at streaming.
Wow.
I really appreciate that.
I mean,
Glazer.
again, I can't get over how much Glazer hates Marvel Rivals. Like, it's really impressive. Like, and it's not, and it's just he's. I
went to a friend's house last weekend, who like a very, very good friend of mine. He ended up marrying another one of my best friends. They had a baby. We went to visit the baby. They had a great, great time. And they know about the Marvel Snap thing, right? Everyone in my life doesn't, but they do. So as soon as I walked in, he goes, so Marvel Rivals. And like I had like a no moment. Like everywhere I go, Rivals is following.
The children really do love Marvel Rivals too. Like teens love it. Like it's a thing. It's a thing. Anyway,
all right.
What's also a thing is Glazer reading all of our patrons in as few breaths as possible. Let's see if he can do it this time without fucking up. We'll see.
I can't. There's too many people now. First, patron of the month, Absolute Shine, and then Abigail Gleason, Manager, Irregardless, LAB, Inkine, Frostman, Hotan, Evident, I think, Poker Prime, Ryan Wood, Ryan Burke, Dix Lee, Koi Ray, who's rude, Kazushi, Archangel 3K, Black Dahlia, the Pyrofrost, Goatseeker, Hollowed, Nightmare, Only Fox, Synth, Batnick, Dirty Casual, Mr. Gravel, Cables, Interprime, Philip Gravage, Apple, Kenny Loggins of the Change Zone, The Biz of Black First, Black Jeebus 23, Extra C and Skippy T fucked up, Jessica Campbell, Slush Death, Kinger Bros, Great Kazoo, Werewolf, Kevsey Hodo, Lunacris, Clam, Colonel Forbin, Rob Subman, M. Holland, David G. Wingfield, Dirty Steven, I'm gonna cry now. Brian Coffin, Just Nate Martin, Jason B, Mr. Craig Matt V, Ren Wrench, Corbin, John Q, Jim McHugh, Yes Stout, 8th Sage, One Big Man, Milkman Frills, Cactus Jack, BG, Quid Pro Joe, Snaptus Dome, Models, Monster Supreme, Green Goblin, Unibot, Flan 56, Steve, Fizz Spectres, Hoot, Ocularis, Matt H, DJ Mike Hedging, Snowflex, Nick the Greek Geek, Zodrex the King, Kind of Demo, Falcon, Falthor, Newman, Jonesy, Two Ties, the great learners, the Pirate King Tuccrr, of course, Gunny T, where the T stands for. I didn't do that well. I got to get used to the new order because when I made it 4 rows, I moved everyone around and I had it like half memorized and it hurts. It just hurts.
Path dependency. It's a hell of a drug. Just like the path that's dependent each and every month that we have Tuccrr on to talk about the new cards. Tuccrr, I really appreciate that you are really moving into our Hall of Fame of guests on this show. And it is a real pleasure every episode that I'm able to be on here with you.
It's a real pleasure just to be on here with you guys, like from start to finish, like the whole cadence and just the way we can talk about Snap and like really voice how we feel and like either bounce off each other or give counter arguments, but it's like in a very presentable way, I think is very healthy. And like, I really enjoy just like the dialogue and dialect, I guess we have here on the channel. And it's just absolutely blessed. Glad to have been able to experience all the episodes we have and can't wait to experience even more in the future.
Awesome. Aaron, it's a real pleasure to be back doing this again with you this week. It is a wonderful joy to have you in my life and to spend over an hour talking about cards from one of the worst Marvel Comics events of all time.
Hey, there are so many bad Marvel Comics events. Avengers, whatever BC,
1
is
million
not
BC.
even top 10 worst. It's not. There's so, like
top 15 maybe.
Black Mirror exists, sir.
It's true.
Like,
Fear itself is also
Fear
really
itself.
bad.
Oh my god.
Secret Invasion is also really bad.
Look, I hate the original Civil War.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, what's not even like that's well that
then the Ultimate Universe has crossovers. We're
cooked.
Yeah.
Just like this episode is. So, loyal listeners and loyal viewers, until next time, stay safe, make good choices, and keep on snapping.